Welcome to the University of Calgary Health Sciences Library tutorials. This session will introduce you to using pre-appraised resources. Before we dive in, it's important to understand the difference between a pre-appraised resource and a medical database. Medical databases such as Medline contain millions of records from thousands of selected publications that cover a period of time, depending on the subscription. The results of any given search are not synthesized and summarized like in pre-appraised resources, but can be considered individual standalone research. Articles thus may demonstrate bias or methodological limitations. On the other hand, pre-appraised sources pull together the literature and give a conclusion for patient care. You may hear them being referred to as point-of-care tools, clinical decision support, or synthesis. And you can think of these as a summary of high-quality reviews that are synthesized to give you confidence in decision-making. Keep in mind, though, that not all resources are created equal, with some that focus on expert or common practice rather than evidence-based resources. Reputable point-of-care tools should have a rigorous process of appraisal that is easily found and demonstrates that it is actually adhered to. These are examples of pre-appraised resources available to you at the University of Calgary. First Consult, available in Clinical Key, has a smaller amount of articles compared with UpToDate, but it's updated weekly, and it touts the Cochrane collaboration as its main source of information. The nice thing about using First Consult in Clinical Key is that it's contained in a larger database for making for ease of further reading. Dynamed has extensive coverage, almost 3,200 plus topics, and it's very current. There's actually a 2011 BMJ article indicating that Dynamed is the most current and reliable of these types of resources. The evidence and grading is very transparent, and there's a mobile download available. Content is downloaded on your device, and no Wi-Fi is necessary to consult. It's available in point form, which makes it really easy to scan. UpToDate has over 9,000 topics, making articles very quick and very specific to find. The encyclopedia is not quite as scannable, and there are questions about the level of evidence, whether emphasis is placed on its expert editorial panel or the scientific literature. So let's try it. Let's explore looking for information on diabetes and pregnancy. Consider the amount of information available, the layout, the breadth and depth of information, and the transparency of evidence in each source. So the first thing that you need to do is go to library.ucalgary.ca/HSL. And the first thing that we're going to do is in this search box look for Clinical Key. Under Best Bet, we'll see the link to Clinical Key. In the search box, we're going to look up diabetes and pregnancy. And this little indicator indicates that it's a First Consult article. So let's suggest that. If FC did not come up right away, what you would do is under content type, just limit to First Consult. The neat thing about using Clinical Key is that it has links to other First Consult articles, and at the top here on the left you can expand all or collapse all depending on how you like to read. So the neat thing about this is that you can go directly to the section of the article that you need. For example, you could look at the background information on causes and risk factors. And if you didn't know what polycystic ovary syndrome was, you could select that and be brought to a new article. It also has this handy associated disorders section, and as well as different sections here. The important thing for us is to look at the summary of evidence. And it gives us the levels of evidence. and then links to papers. So that's Clinical Key, first consult in Clinical Key. The next thing that we should check out is Dynamed. Under Best Bet, we'll select Dynamed. And then what I want to show you up here is Dynamed's transparency. So in the top right, under About, we can actually select Content Editorial Process. And then you can look up the levels of evidence. And so this is what you need to familiarize yourself to use Dynamed to its full potential. So let's search pregnancy and diabetes again. And it defaults to gestational diabetes mellitus. You could also look at pre-existing diabetes in pregnancy. Of course, this would all depend on your topic. So if I selected gestational diabetes mellitus, it tells you when it was last updated, so nice and recent, and it tells you where it got its source from. And you can actually view the update or show more updates. Throughout this article, you will see the levels of evidence. So what we could do is in the top right, we could actually look for prognosis. And get some information surrounding that. And of course, you can select the references and see what references are being referred to. Let's also look up to date. Using the same method, let's look up diabetes and pregnancy again. And as you can see, there's quite specific articles, which makes that's a benefit of using up to date. So let's say we are looking for screening information. Like in Dynamed, you can look within. So we can look for find, and we can look up prognosis. And it will highlight the 16 instances where prognosis occurs in this article. The interesting thing is that they are also showing you outcomes. So they're using this as a synonymous term. At the bottom, we'll find the summary and recommendations, which is the clinical bottom line. And here is where you will find your levels of evidence. And all the references included. So there's a lot of things to consider when choosing a pre-appraised resource. This concludes the tutorial on using pre-appraised resources. For more information or if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us at library.ucalgary.ca/HSL.